Gallaway, come on down here, son. I'll tell you what, it disappeared behind those tires. Where have you been?
Well, is this neat? This is brand new. A brand new Barefoot. There's a lot of Barefoots, but Fred Schaefer, one of the most innovative people in the monster truck racing business, has got something that we're going to look at tonight. Look at it close. It's great.
Those tires are pretty fat.
Oh, they're fat, but you know something? The real secret to them, they're lightweight. That's the key.
Not only monster trucks tonight, we've got modifieds and super modifieds here tonight in Hartford.
Oh, the ground-pounding supers have really been putting on a program. People are getting into it, really liking them. And we've got some of the finest in the nation here. And we've got some modifieds that came all the way from the West Coast to take a look at. Your close friend, Dan COELHO's here.
From the seemingly mythical Turlock, California.
I'm glad you got that out of your system.
Listen, as they say, open your eyes and give your brain a treat, because we're in Hartford tonight. The Budweiser U.S. Hot Rod Truck Pull Championships, featuring the Battle of the Monster Trucks, is brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. For all you do, this Bud's for you.
The key ingredient to tonight's pulling is where to spot the sled on the starting line. Part of the track is real loose with no bite at all. You want a good biting area. You want a lot of trips, and the puller must make this decision before he or she goes to the sled.
Ken Broo along with Mike Gallaway. We're ready for some modified truck action. And Mike, it ought to be a good lineup tonight, because rolling on down now is a big old freight train with Mike Wall behind the wheel, a 78 Chevy. 475 cubic inches, Mike. Not exactly a big engine, but I'm not sure huge horsepower helps you on a track like this.
Well, I think this may be the setup to have tonight. Not the big horsepower, but you don't need big horsepower on a track like this tonight. Make it some small horsepower. Says he's one of the top 5 trucks in the New England area, and he'd like to have a sponsor, as so many of these pullers would like to have. As they're getting involved in it. Mike getting his program together. With a loose chain, you've got to have a tighter taut chain.
There's the flagman with the green flag, and we'll see if the freight train is on time tonight. Look at the tires, too. Great shot of the front tires, underinflated as they, I guess, Mike, search for the right combination, huh?
Well, they're looking for a place to bite on the track. They're trying to get as much of the print on the ground as they can. That's why you're seeing this low tire pressure that you're seeing here on the front of the freight train. Now look at the butterflies, the 3 spots right in the middle. They're wide open. He's got the motor turning hard, but also watch the dirt come off the tires. You're seeing the track destroy itself. There's no bite there. He got into the motor way too early to build any kind of bite at all, and it's just not going to happen for him tonight. I think, you know, you're going to have to ease into the motor. You're possibly going to have to roll the sled 20, 30 feet before you ever look at getting in the throttle.
Well, here is Bob Pugh in the Stubborn Mule, or is that the Stewborn Mule? Spells it a little differently. He's trying to go the full distance tonight. It's wheezing, it's stubborn. It is, regardless of how you spell it, a stubborn mule. I understand that Bob got the truck painted and realized that it was misspelled, and then couldn't afford to get it repainted.
Well, I can understand that.
I mean, you see a good paint job and you don't get hung up on logistics like spelling.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody looks at that and knows what it says. That says...
If the pinstripe is off a little bit, so what?
Fine.
If you forget a B, so what?
That's not important.
What is important to him is that this thing was smoking, and this was not a good pull for him, and he is not a happy puppy.
Well, here again, Ken, the track is the story tonight in this pull competition. The track's not good. They're packing it back together. It's looking good, but it's tearing up. It's rutting up. It's real loose underneath. The bite is gone, and we're just early in the competition, and it's not going to get much better before the night's over with.
And the Stubborn Mule tonight. Stubborn even in spelling. 112 feet, 9 1/4 inches. He'll pull in there and consult his 3rd grade teacher. Hooked up, ready to go. The Enforcer. This is Joe Taylor. Right down the road in Wakefield, Rhode Island is his home. It's an 86 Chevy. And he's really got a problem right now. It sounds like the engine conked out on him.
Lost the fire in the enforcer, and there's not a whole lot of pullers from Rhode Island, but this guy's tough.
He might have lost the fire.
Oh, here we go.
So many romances, he has rekindled the flame. And now the enforcer is ready to do his thing.
Here we go.
Well, Dirty Harry would have been proud of the enforcer tonight. Problems at the start, but he made up for them.
Well, he just lost the fire in it. The thing gets cranked right back up, though. It was ready to go.
I'm interested in how these tires are biting. This is going to be interesting to watch.
Well, notice they've got their own tread design. They're cut the way they want them. They're a C-Pack tire. He's getting a good bite on it. Got a lot of tire speed. Maybe too much tire speed tonight. I wouldn't be afraid to drop down a gear, maybe get to a slower hold, and just ease the tires along tonight. Not trying to spin them real hard, just trying to make them touch the ground, cut the ground, and go forward with them. The momentum is not going to be that important tonight.
Well, the enforcer tonight, 116 and 7. That will not get him up near the top, but he may finish in the money. We'll see. Great shot of the Keith Black Hemi engine that sits inside the Rainbow Express. Ray LeBrun from Coventry, Rhode Island. Keith Black builds a good motor.
Fuel injected, 525 cubic inches. Watch the big tires turn loose. Easing in and out of it, trying to get a hold. Little short wheelbase truck put on quite a show for everyone tonight.
Mike, is beginning to look like the early draws are having the luck with the track, and it seems to be disintegrating as we go on.
Well, the track, as we've talked about so much tonight, is not going to be good later on. We're just going to really have to work at getting any kind of bite. You see, he's got some horsepower, got some tires turning, but smart enough to ease in, try to get a hold. He got on it, backed out of it, and got back on it. They wanted the tires to catch up to the ground and get a hold, and it didn't happen for him. It's a good run, little short wheelbase truck. It's coupled well and hooked good, but there's not a whole lot to hook to tonight.
Well, as Judy Garland once rhapsodized, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds sing, but not for the Rainbow Express tonight. 115 feet, 5 1/4 inches will not be good enough for Ray LeBrun.
Every puller's got a different idea about the way they want to set the front end up on their four-wheel drive truck. Some of them run the coils and some of them run leaves. But in the back of the truck, there's no springs at all.
Well, here it is, one of the finest trucks on the circuit. This is the Red Rabbit. Backing it up is Dan COELHO from that mythical city of Turlock, California. 78 Dodge, 540 cubic inch engine, and he is ready to be hooked in and ready to take it for a ride.
Well, it may be mythical to you, Ken, but Turlock's a real place with some real good pullers. Ken,
I say that in all, glowing terms because there's so many drivers from Turlock.
Well, this particular driver, 5th in 1988, he was 4th in 1986, campaigned some very tough trucks. He bought this truck originally, drove it on the street, drove it from California to Fort Worth, Texas, and competed in a stock class. He found out they were a little different. It stopped. Let's see if he gets a hold of it.
I'll tell you what, Mike, that's a commentary on the track because that is not a typical Dan COELHO pull.
No, Dan is the type of person that goes to the sled, blows it out the door, 40 mile an hour or so. But we talked about it. What we're actually looking at would be trying to drive there's a Red Rabbit, drive your car in a barrel of marbles.
Mm-hmm. Mike, this is a great shot that we have here. This is the sled and how it is attached to the truck that's pulling it. And you see two hookups there now. What's going on here? How come two?
The bottom chain, 6 inches below the top chain, is loose at all times. The top chain is, for some reason, the chain breaks, the drawbar breaks, then the bottom chain goes into effect and it'll stop the vehicle. The top chain, the hitch must be stationary, as you see, in all directions, can't move up and down, side to side. And that's what hooks you to the track. The little cord up above is a kill switch. If anything breaks, then that will kill the engine and shuts it down. Another one of the safety precautions. But you see that hitch set solid. up and down and sideways. That's got to be stationary in all directions.
The Red Rabbit, 115 feet, 1.5 inches, and as we said, not a typical Dan COELHO pull, but he has one more kick at the curb before we're done tonight. Where are the roots of truck and tractor pulling, and how did it become the popular attraction that it is from coast to coast? Our Jim Duff takes an inside look.
Even at a tender age, people seem to be fascinated by speed and power, the science of moving an object from one point to another. No one realized that more than a man named Bob George, and about 12 years ago, he hit upon the idea of moving truck and tractor pulls inside empty arenas around the country. He envisioned a new American pastime and thousands of screaming fans. Many laughed then, but they aren't laughing now, as truck and tractor pulls are here to stay.
I'm in the mood to tear it up. I'm in my prime to tearing it up. I dig tearing up that stuff. I just can't tear it up enough.
Being indoors is kind of skyrocketed. You know, the people got cabin fever. They're sitting in the house. There's 16 foot of snow outside, and what do we do now? So,
as events director for the United States Hot Rod Association, Ken Donay will help supervise more than 250 truck and tractor pulls this year. He estimates that more than 5 million people will pay to watch monster trucks and tractors with souped-up engines perform in arenas from coast to coast and as far north as Canada.
this is definitely a sport. We have, in a very serious sport, these guys that are out here have got big dollars, okay? To compete, they start at $75,000 and up.
They used to pull in front of 300 or 400 people at a county fair, and now we come and pull in front of 10,000 people or so. It's amazing.
As you can see, the drivers aren't the only ones who find this sport amazing. Fans, like this woman, can't seem to get enough of it. Promoters say attendance has increased some 15% a year for each of the last 3 years. Back in 1985, for instance, an all-time record crowd of 72,000 packed Michigan's Pontiac Silverdome to witness the orgy of sound and fury so unique to this sport.
It's the first time. It's great, though.
Why?
The noise and the fumes, and it's different entertainment.
It's pretty neat. It's loud, noisy, but it's neat.
I like the power. I like the noise. It's awesome.
The subculture that hangs out and participates in this thing is sort of interesting.
I like the noise, and I like how these tractor guys just pull their stuff up and they go real fast and the mud goes flying everywhere.
And with that sort of enthusiasm, promoters feel confident that in the future, even more people will take that first step, becoming hooked on a sport featuring big men and big engines, plowing new ground in arenas all over the country and eventually the world.
When you're putting 15,000, 18,000 people in a one-night show in your normal type arena, and then you come back 2 years later and you put in 18,000 times 2 or times 3, well, it's definitely serious.
I just can't tear it up enough.
And as we continue on, you can see them repairing the dirt, getting ready for the next pull. And I know if you've been with us from pull to pull on ESPN, you know that the track, the dirt itself, comes from the area that the pull is located in. And this is Hartford, New Haven dirt that just is not coming together well tonight. Kind of a sandy surface. You almost wish it was someplace in the Southwest where they have that nice clay type of soil that seems to come together well. But, Mike, this just is not performing tonight.
Naturally, that's the best you can have to pull on. I think, you know, this dirt won't pack together. It looks good from where you're at, but it'll break apart as soon as you hook to it. It's dry. It could use a little more moisture in it to make it stick together a little better, Ken. Moisture would help it more than anything, but it's a dried setup right now.
Maybe this truck can make up for some deficiencies in the track, I should say, and that is the Wild Child. This is Rob Perotti from East Canaan, Connecticut. Still waiting for pistons that haven't come in, but he's doing okay. If you were with us at the Meadowlands for our show there, he finished first in the modifieds. And tonight we'll experiment with a little bit lower gear ratio to get the maximum performance out of his truck. Calls it the Wild Child because that was his CB handle back when he was 13 in 1973.
Rob's currently 12th in the nation with the Wild Child truck. It's a beautiful truck, and one of the older model trucks here again. The 50s, the classic style truck. 52s riding in that area.
Truck was on the street before Rob was a gleam in his parents' eye, I guess.
This is true, but I'll tell you what, the big Pontiac head, the monster motor, 575 cubic inches, all of these things are making this truck very, very tough. And talked about flip-top bodies a lot. When you see the body up on this, it stands straight up and down. Well, he will be trying his best to put it past 120. It would be real tough for him tonight.
The Wild Child. Not a bad pull for a guy who admits that his truck does not perform on a track of this consistency. He likes a track with bite. No bite tonight, but the Wild Child does pretty well.
I thought it was an excellent run for him. I thought all the way around the truck hooked up extremely well. Everything looked good. Let's watch him. It's good. Civic cuts the way he wants them on the front of it. He got a little bit, not turning the tires nearly as hard as we've seen other people do earlier tonight. I think that's probably the key to this situation. Slow those tires down. We said that earlier. You don't want to do it. And we just received word that the Wild Child, Rob Brody, has gone the distance. So we've got a pull-off.
There is the other truck involved in the pull-off as we speak right now. Freight train with a full pull, 120 feet. Actually, when he pulled, they were measuring distance, and it was well over 120 feet, but it's now the Wild Child and the freight train in the pull-off. There could be more that join the party, though. You never know. One may be this truck. This is Big Daddy Kevin Brooks out of Townsend, Vermont. 79 Ford, 500 cubic inch. Interestingly enough, Kevin Brooks is 17 years old, is a sophomore in high school. His dad has driven this truck up until this year. Kevin got his license and said, "Pop, I'm going to drive." And his dad said, "Go right ahead." So Kevin Brooks, at the tender age of 17, will try to join the pull-off.
Got close.
He got very close.
500 cubic inch Ford with an automatic in it. That's a sweet setup on a track like you're looking at tonight.
The wheel's so important on this kind of track, Mike, and you can see his tire speed real well here.
Well, I think a lot of this has to do with the automatic transmission. That's a good piece to have in a track like this when you don't want to turn the tires nearly as hard as you would with a direct hookup on the clutch.
Look at that dirt getting thrown back by the front tires. That
hitting the rear tires, correct.
Creating more work for the rear tires.
Exactly, and that's loose dirt going down on the track, and that's just another very, very fine camera work. See a little heat coming out from under it. They've got the hood up on it.
Yep, I guess Kevin is too young to smoke, but not the truck. There's Kevin, 17 years old, sophomore in high school. And there's his dad helping him. That's his dad, David. Big Daddy, Little Sonny, combined they get a first pull of 116 feet, 2 1/4 inches. I'll tell you, tip one, if you're coming to a truck pull, bring something for the ears, particularly for the little kids. And there's a mom who knew exactly what to do, and a dad who was on the same page. Just little earplugs. If you don't have any at home, they sell them at the arena, and it's probably the best investment you can make. I think they only cost $1 or $2. Keeps your ears protected from such ground pounding action as the ground pounder. This is Bob Hart from just up the road in Nashua, New Hampshire. 86 Chevy, 512 cubic inch engine, and a driver deluxe. Bob Hart is a big name in this sport.
That was a good puller. Boy, I love this truck. Beautiful artwork on it.
You also got to have power and distance, and unfortunately, Bob will not be in the pull-off tonight.
Tried real hard. Beautiful black truck.
There's Bob.
512 cubic inches. He also running through carburetors.
A little bit of the red tint to the windows there, too. 120 feet is how far you got to go to get in the big show. And in the pull-off so far tonight, Freight Train, Mike Wall's fine, fast vehicle, and the Wild Child, Rob Perotti from right down the road in Rhode Island. And call the hospital. Alert ICU. Give me 10 cc of pure blood. We've got critical condition. Backing up and looking for a shot at the big show from Canterbury, Connecticut. This is Mark Weeks, a landscaper, an excavator, and a fellow who really wants to do the trick tonight, because last night he ran smack into a tractor, smashed the front end of his truck, and had to do some long work through the night to get it ready for this.
It's tough to pull when you're running into a tractor.
Tractors don't move all that easily.
No, they don't.
There's what he has got to pull. All the way to the top and then some. Critical condition. Well, that's not bad at all.
No, it isn't. Automatic transmission in that truck helped. Let's watch the critical condition as he leaves the starting line. And I think the automatic is the most important part on this truck. 514 inches is about right of the Boss Hemi motor, the old shotgun Hemi motor. But the automatic, that's where the key to this pull is. It's just not breaking the tires loose real quick, just easing into it and getting him down the track, putting it in a good contention for money here tonight.
Critical condition, well, it won't get him discharged from the hospital, but it might get him upgraded to stable. 114 feet, 4.5 inches is his pull tonight. Well, he's had one run at it tonight. He'll come back for another in this truck. Wild Hair. This is Dan Coelho, the top dog from Turlock, California. This is 79 Dodge, 572 Hemi engine. And as we all know, that Dan Coelho, 47 years old. And now quasi-legendary Dan Coelho will go down the track for the second time tonight.
A president of Danco Trailers, by the way. And couldn't do it.
Well, when you own the company, you can be president.
Well, that's right. But he could not do this without his wife. I'll tell you that.
Well, we'll see if the two of them can make it work here. That's going to be real close.
Oh, he's there. He's in the pull-off.
The Wild Hair could do maybe what the Red Rabbit could not. And Coelho, as is his trademark, waving the rabbit from the cab. The man to your left is Rob Perotti. And what is he doing, Mike, at this point, because he is involved in this pull-off?
Well, he's telling the sled man where he wants the sled parked when he comes back. And I think you'll see him right on the left-hand side. See where he's pointing?
Yeah.
He wants to have those tires over 6 or 8 inches.
There's who's in the pull-off. The modified pull-off has come down to a battle of 3 trucks, the Freight Train, the Wild Child, and the Wild Hair. So 1 with a power name and 2 that maybe defy discipline. The Freight Train will be the first one out of the chute tonight. And Mike Wall, back when they were still measuring total distance, pulled a 122, 7 3/4 inches.
He actually pulled further than anyone here tonight.
The track, though, was in much better shape than it was when the last 2 guys went. We'll see if it holds up now.
Early to the motor hard.
Interesting in the sense that he stops, goes no further, and if you notice where the box top is, it's halfway up the sled. Normally, you would see it all the way up at the top at this point. I guess that's another commentary on the track.
True.
So for a fellow that went 122 and changed the first time out, this is not exactly what he had in mind.
Well, it would be the winning pull. He asked for the motor early in the competition and got some good response out of it. I thought he did well. The box is a little heavier. going up a little quicker this time around, so that could be a winner. I doubt it, but it could be a winner.
Well, the freight train doesn't get sidetracked in the pull-off, 112 feet, 2.5 inches, and so Mike Wall goes to the sidelines and waits to see if it will hold up. Well, here is Rob Perotti, the wild child. We saw him earlier conversing with the sled operator. And we'll see if the strategy that he has picked will work for him. He went the full distance the last time, and now this classic of a cab will back up and try a hitch. And Mike, it almost looks like he has his tires kind of pushed in.
Well, he's got the front end pushed in. Look at this intake manifold. This is something new. This is kind of a Rob Perotti special. It's unlike anything we've seen in the past.
Looks like something's missing.
The carburetors, but that's a sweet setup. That's a brand new injection system that Rob's working on with Wild Child, and it can be a real key to success tonight. There's the pull chain and the safety chain, and then the little cable being the kill switch. Rob is just about ready to go. Everyone's got a different idea about the hitch angle, hitch height, and so on. It varies.
30 years old, Rob Perotti's been in the business for a while, has a pretty good 1989 going. We mentioned that he won the event that we televised a couple of months ago from the Meadowlands. Still waiting for parts for pistons that are not in, but with parts that he does not want to use anymore, he's doing very well, and here he is in the pull-off. And that is a fine pull.
Beautiful job. But Ken will notice when he see this in a replay, he backed off the throttle, let the tires slow down, and then hooked to the track and then got back in it. Let's listen real close.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Slow down, back in the throttle. What he did, he slowed it down, got the tires to hook, then got back on the throttle, brought the truck to life, and I think it got him a good bit more footage.
Well, the Wild Child certainly not wild tonight. He tamed the track and leads now with a pull of 125 feet, 7.5 inches. And Mike, that's the best pull either in the pull-off or the regular competition that we've seen tonight. Well, Mike, here's the last chance. This is the man that has everything: driving skill, engine power, and just sobbing to pull off the win tonight. Dan COELHO, the full pull early on, now must drive in excess of 125 feet to win this event tonight.
He's got just what you said, everything he needs.
He had a good first pull and now knows that he must better the mark set by the Wild Child. This is the Wild Hare. Can a hare beat a child? They'll be as close as a loving couple that are driving on a Saturday night. We'll wait for the official measurement. The Wild Child went 125, and COELHO has come awfully close to that. The Wild Hare had to go 125 feet, 7.5 inches. That's what the Wild Child went. But Dan COELHO comes up about 1.2 inches short, 124.5. So the Wild Hare winds up in second place tonight. Well, there he is, the man of the night, Rob Perotti, behind the wheel of the Wild Child. It may be a wild child, but it tamed the track tonight. In the pull-off, the Wild Child races home with the win. Welcome back to the Hartford Civic Center. Ken Broo along with Mike Gallaway. We're ready for the Super Modifieds. And Mike, the difference between the Modifieds and this class is what?
Well, there's three major differences. The wheelbase, the hitch height, and what sticks to the hood is a supercharger.
All bigger and longer and more powerful.
It's completely right, Ken. These are the top of the heap.
when it comes to four-wheel drive.
And when it comes to four-wheel drive, Ricky Bell is about as big a name as you can find. He's from Nashville, Tennessee, and this is his truck, the Bad Intention.
Beautiful truck.
Like Ricky got angry with the motor there the last part of that track.
He played with it, tried to get the tires hooked, tried to get them to hook, and then said, I'm going home, whatever happens, happens, and just called for the 1,800 horsepower he's got under the hood, and it was there.
We're going to look at it again, Mike, and we're going to look at it in regular speed.
But watch and listen to the motor. Listen to the motor as he barks down through here. On it, off of it, back on it. Now he calls for the motor. Just screaming. Ooh, that's big time horsepower.
He whipped that home. That's Ricky Bell from Nashville.
Isn't the paint beautiful on this?
Gorgeous.
House of Color in Nashville painted that truck.
Well, the road to you-know-where is paved with good intentions. Is the road to a super modified win paved with bad intentions? 144 feet and 8 inches, not a bad pull. Well, if you're ever on I-71 in the Louisville, Kentucky area, perhaps you've gone through the Grange, and if you have, perhaps you have seen this, the neatest looking truck on the super modified circuit. Freddie Powell's 1939 Leapin' Lizzy. It's a Ford, and there is the paint job on the door.
With a supercharged Chevrolet under the hood. And it's definitely lime green.
Ford cab, Chevy engine, lime green paint job, and fearless Freddie behind the wheel. I kind of eased into it off the start and then made it work maybe about 20 feet down the track.
A very good job of driving. Freddie's kind of watching what's going on. I think he did a great job. He's a heavy equipment operator. When he's not handling this heavy equipment.
What would heavy equipment be?
Oh, Caterpillar, earth movers, track hose. Let's watch the big motor come to life. Says he's got 1,000 horsepower. Might have a little more than that. Easing into it, just a little bit at a time. Breaks the tires loose. Calls for the horsepower. There's the butterflies open. He is trucking with it. Front tires setting out quite a bit further apart than the rear tires, and down towards the finish line. The old 39 knows it's got a hold of something. It says that's all for the Leapin' Lizard. A good job, though.
Freddie Powell of Grange, Kentucky. Leapin' Lizzy leaps to a pull of 135 feet and 6 inches tonight. Freddie Grange should be happy with that. Well, here is the Valley Shaker. This truck comes from Georgetown, Kentucky, home to another famous puller by the name of Alan Gaines. Tonight behind the wheel is Jackie Sewell. Sometimes we see Ted Sharp, Butch to his friends, behind the wheel, but tonight it's Jackie Sewell who will drive. And Jackie, the impresario, will drive with the cigar in his mouth.
Jackie's
thinks he's George Burns.
He doesn't seem to be worried about this, does he?
No, he light it up. And probably a fine cigar, too.
Don't worry about it.
Here it is.
Roll the slack out of the chain and just kind of take it easy. You know he's had a good pull if the other end the cigar's gone.
That's right.
Or it's shorter.
I think we need to point out we don't recommend doing this at home when you pull.
Exactly. There's the mark.
Valley shakes, the mountains roar, and Jackie Sewell has driven it out the door.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Just a super pull. Mike Gallaway, the cigar must be the magic wand.
Look at this one. Calls for the motor, and it is on its way. We're going to see lots of good pulling tonight.
There it is, and I'm sorry, you just got to like a guy who drives with a cigar in his mouth. The Valley Shaker goes the full tilt. Full tilt boogie tonight. 150 feet for the Valley Shaker. They're hooking up one of the finest truck pulling vehicles that's ever been on a track. This is the Orange Blossom Special. Maybe the root of everything that Alan Gaines has ever done. Alan Gaines owns it. It's KAELIN News who gets the chore of driving it tonight, but that is the original.
Oldest competing pulling truck in America.
There is a great shot of KAELIN almost on cue. Opens the door and he says, "I'm a smart guy. That's why I
forgot my helmet."
Oh.
Now look at his shoes. Look down at his shoes. They're gone.
No, well, that's an Alan Gaines trick because Alan doesn't drive with shoes.
And I believe he's just got Mike Hoff's helmet.
You know, Alan would probably tell him, probably get home, and Alan's going to say now, "KAELIN, what's the deal? How come you left town without your helmet?"
He's got it. I think he just got a little excited and forgot it. Listen to this truck.
The door too, and we will have a pull-off.
Wheels are spinning and the girls are grinning with the Orange Blossom Special cooking outside.
I'll tell you what, KAELIN News says, "I might have a borrowed helmet, and I may not have any shoes, but I sure know how to stand on it."
He'll shift this truck right there, puts it in the high side, leaves the second, and trucks right out the gate into the pull-off.
It's a full pull for the OBS. And 2 trucks now have qualified for the big enchilada. So right now we have 2 trucks in the pull-off, the Valley Shaker and the Orange Blossom Special. They have both gone the full distance, 150 feet. And maybe now, Ron Keel from Chelsea can go the full distance himself. He's got this 80 Dodge, just under 500 cubic feet. It's called a Twister. Chelsea, Michigan.
Supercharged Hemi.
It is supercharged. There's a good shot of Ron, too.
498 cubic inches. In gear. Horsepower.
Twisting it down the track too. I think you could see, and we will see on the replay, how he was working the wheel, looking for the right space, the right place for those tires to bite.
Big blown Hemi eases out of the starting line area, uncracks the horsepower, still just moving into it, moving in. Hasn't opened up the butterfly. Now he's going to go for the full throttle, working his way around the track. Not enough there.
Mike, when you look at trucks on this circuit, you can look at classics all you want, but you can look no further than this. There was a class of trucks, a line of trucks built back in the 30s called the Diamond T's. And of course, we all know that they're not around anymore, except for this one. It's a beautiful truck Eddie Powell has.
Rich truck.
Very rich truck. Beautiful truck. I would call that color, and we see them hooking him on now, but kind of a plum colored truck. Bought the truck in 1983. He said it was all rusted out. The frame and the lights are original on this truck. And he says that he has people, one guy in particular, a Kentucky State Trooper, will drive up to 300 miles to see him pull.
You're going to find out why. He owns a trucking company. He's been doing it for 12 years. 1988 Kentucky State Points champion. Built it in 10 weeks. Here's Mr. Diamond D.
Nice pull for the Mr. Diamond T. The Mr. Diamond T. I mean, really, Mike, you don't see a lot of Diamond T's anywhere anymore. This is maybe one of the few left.
Very possible. That truck didn't sound just right on the end of that pull when it popped back. A little bit of a problem. Let's take a listen on the end of that pull. It may have just leaned out. Sounds great here. He shifts the truck. Gets some momentum. There he shifts. But now listen to it right on the end.
Oh!
Here the two backfires out of the left bank, and that's not good. Could have leaned it out a little bit.
Well, here is a truck from Mantua, Ohio. This is Phil Carlton and Philly's Paycheck. And I think one of the reasons why it's called Philly's Paycheck is because more than one of Phil's paychecks has gone to pay for this. A gorgeous truck, though, Mike.
Beautiful. Farmer by, well, I don't know if you'd call farming a profession right now.
He grows soybeans, I can tell you that. And this is a 77 Chevy. Great look at the hook. Been alluding to that all night.
Automatic trans, and he needs the full pull. The 150 mark will set him into the pull-off.
Oh, he lost power at the end.
Now, first thing they're going to do is check to see if the kill switch was pulled. If the kill switch pulls,
now what if it did pull? Would he get to go again?
He would get a repull. If the kill switch is still intact,
that's what they're checking right now.
Then
why would the kill switch be pulled?
Bouncing around, any number of things could have happened.
He is not a happy man, and I think he's going to go back and take a look at it.
Not a happy camper, and he doesn't even go back to the kill switch. He knows there's problems beyond that.
So whatever the problem was, it was something in Philly's paycheck, and undoubtedly the next paycheck that Phil Carlton gets will go to fix it. Mike, let's take a look at this run right from the start.
Truck looks good, sounds good, but when it dies instantly. Listen to it.
Yep.
It's over with.
I mean, like that.
Just like you shut the fire off.
Well, we were supposed to have a pull-off between the Valley Shaker and the Orange Blossom Special, but a funny thing happened on the way to the sled. The Valley Shaker blew its transmission out. Maybe some of that cigar smoke from Jackie Sewell filtered into the engine. In any event, the winner of the super modified competition by default of the Valley Shaker engine is the Orange Blossom Special. Welcome back to the Hartford Civic Center. I'm Ken Broo along with Mike Gallaway as we continue on with the Battle of the Monster Trucks. And right there in center field are the relics that will soon be reduced to rubble, because, Mike, we not only have a barefoot truck here tonight, we've got a barefoot truck with some wild wheels on it. We saw it in the open.
Well, this is all new. Barefoot racer. And, you know, when Fred Schaefer comes out, he comes out strong. But this is Goliath.
Let's take a look at the vital statistics of Alan Torres' truck. Alan from Warren, Ohio, up near the Youngstown area. And as you can see, 500 horsepower. But look at how high up that truck sits. 12 feet 6 inches, almost as wide as it is high, and a gross weight of 18,000 pounds.
And not one, but two supercharged Ford motors. One in the front, one in the back for Goliath.
Well, he's going to ease on over it.
Ooh, that doesn't show good. The two left-hand tires are trying to move, but the two right-hand tires aren't trying to go. Now we've got them to come around and hook up.
One pass over the cars, and Goliath will come back for another. Mike, I think what's interesting is you have a hard rubber tire on this truck, and then a softer rubber tire and a thinner tire on the barefoot truck that we'll see in just a moment.
Well, two completely different designs. Fred's designed for racing, quick, agile. Alan's is a truck.
Oh, man.
It is a heavy piece of equipment. Alan says he's toured almost 500,000 miles with this truck.
Is that a fact?
He's been around the continent several times.
And as Barefoot Racer rolls out onto the track, let's go down to our own Mike Gallaway, who's got the inside look on this truck with the fat tires. Mike?
I'm with Fred Schaefer, and Fred Schaefer is always innovative in this sport. And Fred, this thing is completely out of the ordinary for a monster truck.
Yeah, we got about 2 years of thought in this truck, and it's all fiberglass. It weighs in between 8,000 and 9,000 pounds. It's got a big motor in it, and we got a lot of faith in this truck.
Now, Fred, 8,000 to 9,000 pounds, that's almost half the weight of a normal monster truck. Where did you lose all the weight?
Well, we lost about 1,500 in these new tires that we're experimenting with. The fiberglass body is real light, aluminum firewall, aluminum floorboards, and just tried to make it as light, as strong as possible.
I've noticed something else that you're trying to skim over and not say anything about, but I've been kind of looking a little bit. The rear ends, they're not the top loaders.
No, this is something we're trying, and some of the pulling guys has helped me with this a little bit. This is a 106 Rockwells, and they're about 500 pounds a piece lighter than the old 5 tons, and there's a lot of advantages to using this, and so far they've held up real well.
How long have you had the truck out, Fred?
This is the 3rd week for it.
What is the biggest difference between the barefoot racer and barefoot?
Well, I guess horsepower per pound is the biggest thing, and we've got a Linko and a slipper clutch in here that we're experimenting with. I'm kind of learning to have to drive it again, so I'm kind of learning to drive a little bit. I need a few more weeks in the truck to really get competitive with it.
I've never seen the time that I thought Fred Schaefer ever needed any extra time in a truck to get competitive. He's always on top. The brand new barefoot racer will keep him there.
Look at that. Now this truck, all fiberglass.
Is that right?
All fiberglass, new setup on it. It could be the thing of the future. And he's lowered the truck. He's got the body down. The motor is further down inside of it.
And he's lost a lot of weight on the tires themselves. They're thin tires. They're not very thick tires.
They're an experimental tire. And
there's Fred.
These tires and wheels weigh about 600 pounds apiece, and that's with steel wheels. So he could probably get them down to 4.5 or something like that with aluminum. But it's all new.
Oh!
Slipper clutch. He's got a new setup on the clutch, the transmission.